to Cooperstown in New York. In the days as a rookie with the New York Giants and the old Polo Grounds, Wilhelm left the knuckleball in the capable hands of Phil Niekro here in New York. Phil striking out hitter after hitter in quest of win number 292 in his career against Jack No-Hit Morris of the Detroit Tigers. So there you have it. The knuckleball returns to New York with Phil Niekro, and so do the champion Tigers on the NBC Game of the Week.
NBC Sports presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Today, from Yankee Stadium, it's the Detroit Tigers versus the New York Yankees. The Game of the Week is brought to you by light beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer, and less. By Ford, who invites you to drive the new Ford Escort. Have you driven a Ford lately? By AFTA, aftershave skin conditioner. By Menon. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst.
From Yankee Stadium in New York on a beautiful summer's day, temperature in the 70s, the champion Detroit Tigers with Jack Morris against the New York Yankees and Phil Niekro. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola, and like everybody else in New York, we are reading the newspapers. Case in point, yesterday, Billy and the Boss ganging up on Yogi.
That was yesterday, because the soap opera continues. This was today. Billy Balls. The story is, a teary-eyed Billy Martin said, "I never mentioned Yogi's name." Every time you come into this ballpark, the names change, but the confusion is here.
And the characters are the same. Billy Martin, angered over the Yankees' lack of fundamental baseball, called a workout. Don Mattingly was angry about the workout. George Steinbrenner was angry about Mattingly. Some of the Yankees are angry about some of the Yankees. And meanwhile, you almost overlooked the fact that the Detroit Tigers are getting their act together, and they've won 5 straight.
That's the thing Butch Weiniger was talking about. We worry more about other things in the game, and today they have to worry about Jack Morris, but Detroit has to worry about Niekro. A lot of knuckleballs today.
Niekro in quest of win number 292. We'll get to the lineups right after this.
I don't compete anymore, but I still pump iron. So after lifting a few hundred pounds, it's nice to lift one of these. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great, and it's less filling with a third less calories than the regular beer. They know bodybuilding is hard work, but having a great body has its advantages. Sure makes it easy to pick up guys. Hi, Rodney.
Oh, well, hi there. What's going on here? Hey, honey, how about a lift home, huh?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Everything the big boys do. Pours it on, nails them cold. Digs down deep and goes for gold. Yeah, golden flakes of toasted wheat. Good and crunchy, not too sweet. Wheaties, Wheaties, that's your style. Now flash, flash, flash that winning smile.
Watch out, big boys.
Hi,
I'm Sparky Anderson of the Detroit Tigers. I'll be managing the American League All-Stars in Minneapolis on July 16th. But the starting American and National League lineups will be selected by you. So we need your vote to help put the 1985 All-Star teams on the field. Ballots are free at retail stores, featuring an all-star display at Major League and minor league ballparks. Balloting ends July 6th, so vote for your all-stars now.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Here's the way the Detroit Tigers stack up offensively. Lou Whitaker leading off at second base, followed by the shortstop with a 6-game hitting streak. That's Alan Trammell. The big guy in right field who homered last night, Kirk Gibson. Behind the plate, celebrating his 29th birthday today, Lance Parrish. At first base, Darrell Evans. In left field, Larry Herndon. He homered last night. The designated hitter, Johnny Grubb. In center field, over his wrist problems, Chet Lemon. And at third base, Tom Brookins, who also homered. The Tigers hit 4 home runs last night.
Take a look at the defense. Griffey is in left field. Henderson is in center field. Winfield with a bad left knee. He hurt it in a rundown play. He's wearing a big brace. I guess it would be anything but big with that guy. But he's in right field. Pagliarulo is at third base. Robertson is his shortstop. Randolph, the second baseman. Mattingly at first base. And they talk about his bat when they talk about Mattingly, but you're going to see a pretty good fielding first baseman over there. Weininger's behind the plate, and he'll have his work cut out for him as usual when you got a knuckleball pitcher out there. But Weininger doesn't one-hand a lot of them. You'll see him trying to get in front of the ball, which is the objective that he has as a knuckleball catcher as we look at Phil Niekro.
And you were talking about a good defense. Remember that Niekro was a Gold Glove amongst National League pitchers from 1978 through 80 and also in 82 and 83. So he brings an extra glove to the game. Phil is not only 7-4, he keeps you in a game. 12 starts, and you see 11 decisions. He is perfect at Yankee Stadium. He is 5-0 here.
A lot of knuckleballers know that hitters will swing at anything but the knuckleball, so they'll throw a variety of them. The first one that Niekro will try to get over for a strike is pretty much a tumbler. It's not his real good one, but when he gets 2 strikes on you or it gets in a jam, then you'll see that real good one. He turns a fastball over kind of like a screwball. He's got a big, slow curveball. But unless you're Rip Van Winkle, you know that if he's going to win, he's got to have the thing going for him, the knuckleballer.
Well, we'll see how he starts off, Lou Whitaker, because Whitaker has hit 12 home runs in his career, leading off in the first inning. You have a battle of no-hit pitchers here. Niekro had a no-hitter against San Diego in 1973, and, of course, Jack Morris against the Chicago White Sox last year. And a knuckleball is promptly spanked into right field. So Whitaker, who had a 5-game hitting streak snapped last night, picks up where he left off with a base hit to right field.
That's the knuckleball he tries to throw for a strike. Whitaker wouldn't let him get by with it. It's more of a tumbler than a knuckleball.
Niekro, who is 46 years old, has struck out a high of 9, and he has done that twice this year. And here is Alan Trammell with a 6-game hitting streak. And he has hit safely in 11 of his last 12. Ominous opening game for the Yankees against Detroit last night. The Tigers hit 4 home runs in that game. A pitch out, but Whitaker's holding. Last year, the Tigers hit 17 home runs against the Yankees.
Needless to say, anytime a knuckleballer is out there, the base runner, if he's got any speed at all, is thinking about running.
Whitaker has not been running this year. He has only stolen 4, and he's been caught 3 times. And you can see what a 1-2 punch they give Sparky Anderson right at the top of the heap. So with Whitaker at first, held on by Mattingly, Alan Trammell and Kirk Gibson back-to-back. Fastball. You know, Niekro said one thing he likes to do. He would love to pitch 1 game before he is finished without throwing a knuckleball.
And I'd be willing to bet anything it'll not be a complete game.
Well, that's one of his wishes. 2 balls and 1 strike. He throws a little slider as well as the fastball, but of course the bread and butter pitch, the knuckler. So Whitaker at first, held on by Mattingly. And a shot right through Niekro's legs into center field. Whitaker's going to go to third. And the throw by Henderson, not in time. And down to second goes Trammell. And Whitaker looked like he had a lock on it. He was running so easily.
He was kind of ambling in the third base. That throw was off target. They really should have had Whitaker. Now watch him. He makes a big wide turn here. Now, he almost like he overstrides. Bob misses the bag, and he's not really digging that hard. And the throw, had it been on target, would have gotten him.
The runners at second and third, and nobody out. And the batter is Kirk Gibson. Gibson homered last night with those 40 RBIs and the 11 home runs. He's tied with Darrell Evans on the team with the 11. Ball one.
Niekro's in the jam. He's got to go to that real good knuckleball, and that presents the problem for Weininger to be sure to knock that ball down, because a knuckleball pitcher with a man on third is a luxury.
Whitaker and Trammell, and the knuckleball just avoided Kirk Gibson and vice versa.
Watch Weininger try to get in front of that ball, because when they release it, they don't know where it's going. He makes a good play on that ball. Two hands.
So Butch Weininger trying to smother that dancer with runners at second and third, and there's a pop fly, and it's Willie Randolph with the shades down, one away, and boy, did that thing come in on the hand, and the runners hold. Niekro trying to snap a 3-game Yankee losing streak. They have also lost 7 out of 9 and 8 of 11 against a hot team. The Tigers have won 5 straight, hitting 11 home runs over that stretch. Here's Lance Parrish celebrating his 29th birthday today. Second and third, 1 out in the first inning. Parrish had 5 home runs and 10 RBIs against the Yankees last year in their 13 meetings. They usually play each other very tough off last year. That's a strike. In the 13 meetings between the two clubs, 3 of them were decided in extra innings, and 7 by 2 runs or less. As you see, Baltimore and Earl Weaver winning again, and the red-hot Red Sox leading Toronto. Boy, the Red Sox begin today 5.5 back at Toronto. They have revitalized the the American League East. John McNamara's club finally putting things together. 2 balls and 1 strike. And we have one more score. Oakland leading Cleveland 7-1 in the 7th. The Indians are 17 games out of first place. Two and 1. Check swing and a little pop fly. It will fall. And that will score 2. On his way to second is Parrish, and a bad throw by Winfield offline. A check swing bloop double for 2 RBIs.
You're going to see a lot of fluky things with the knuckleball, and that's not unusual, because Parrish started to swing because it was a high knuckleball. Bloops it out there. Winfield, like everybody else, caught by surprise. Sets himself, but throw is off target, and Parrish is able to go into second base. Not only is he in scoring position, but he avoids that double play, which could end the inning.
So things are looking up for the Tigers as they take a jump 2-0 in the first inning. Ironically, that's only the 3rd time this year that Whitaker and Trammell have scored in the same inning. So they throw those 2 lightning bolts and pick them up on a check swing double to right. The ball is wiggling, but it's still not doing what Phil wants.
Guy like Parrish, when that happens to you, you want to call time and go buy a lottery ticket.
And as far as Niekro is concerned, you want to ride home and start the day over again. You make a good pitch and you fool him, and it costs 2. Ground foul. 1 and 2. I think the ball that really ticks Niekro off the most, however, was the single by Trammell, because it went right through his legs. If he does anything but allow it to go up the middle, it's a totally different inning. And if he stops the ball, and remember, you're looking at a man who has 5 gold gloves. If he makes a play on that ball, it's a completely different inning. 1 and 2 the count to Darrell Evans. 2-2. Boy, Weiniger catching that with his knuckles all over the place.
I tell you, when you catch a knuckleballer for 9 innings, you go home. The only thing you want to watch on television is the test pattern.
See. 2-2. In talking about knuckleballs, and we opened up the show showing Hoyt Wilhelm, and you think of Dutch Leonard and Roger Wolf, Johnny Niggling, Hefner, names out of the past, and you think of the fellow who caught them, Jake Early, who just passed away back at the end of May.
Rick Farrell, too.
Oh, yes. A drive to right field, and that knuckleball has unknuckled. So Darrell Evans is now 1 RBI away from 1,000 in his career. As Evans hits his 12th home run, he has 26 RBIs, and Niekro and the Yankees are staggered.
You can see the knuckleball all the way. It stays up, and the knuckleball up is in danger zone, but not for long. Evans really touched it off, and Winfield, who was playing right field, all he did was turn around and watch it like the rest of us.
So 2 former Braves, one now in a Detroit uniform and the other in a Yankee uniform, meet at Yankee Stadium, and Evans wins that battle 4-0. That's 12 home runs for Detroit in the last 5 games plus an inning. And it is 5 home runs in less than 10 innings against the Yankees. 5 in there. 0-2. For Billy Martin, his ball club is really staggering. They have lost 3 straight, and they're down 4-0. The Yankees' longest losing streak is 5. That was the last week in April.
Missing with the knuckleball and missing up with it and getting them in trouble.
Larry Herndon, who homered last night when he touched home plate, it was the 500th run in his career. Didn't get that one, so he'll touch the bench. Strikeout number 1 for Phil Niekro. It was a long time coming. And the designated hitter, Johnny Grubb, will be coming up. Johnny Grubb is struggling, as those numbers would indicate. Four to nothing in favor of the Tigers here in the first inning. Fastball picked up the corner, and the count 1-1. So Niekro 7-4 and 1-0 lifetime against Detroit. That was a 2-1 victory a year ago in Detroit. The only run he surrendered that day was a home run by Kirk Gibson. Head wiggled low. Ball 3. So Phil Niekro having all kinds of problems, coming off a 16-game win last year. Line drive at Mattingly, and the inning is over. The big play that meant 4 runs, a ground ball by Alan Trammell, and as it goes through the legs of a Gold Glove, so do 4 runs go up on the scoreboard for Detroit.
I care about you, the way you look, the way you set me free. I care about you, 'cause you're special to me.
Owning a turbo feels special, but the feeling won't last if your oil breaks down and your turbocharger goes with it. That's why we make Valvoline Turbo 5, the motor oil specially formulated to withstand the intense heat and the stress of turbos. Valvoline, because your car is special.
'Cause you're special to me.
You are about to see what may be the most dependable film laboratory in the world. A lab that develops pictures not in hours, but in seconds. That makes taking great pictures remarkably easy. That delivers your pictures right to you, anywhere in the world. And where can you find this lab? Right in the palm of your hand. Polaroid instant cameras do what no other kind of camera can do.
Here's the way the Yankees will come up as they try to get off the floor with a 7-game hitting streak. Ricky Henderson in center field. Ken Griffey off the DL is back in left field. Don Mattingly, who has played 157 consecutive games without an error, will bring a hot bat to first base. And Dave Winfield, with a knee wearing a brace, will be in right field. Don Baylor is the DH, and it is Butch Weiniger's job to flag the knuckleball. Willie Randolph will be at second base. Jim Pagliarulo will be at third base instead of Dale Berra, and the shortstop, marking his return as a starter, Andre Robertson.
Defensively, Herndon in left field, and Chet Lemon, this is a good center field for him. Gives him a lot of room. He showed a lot of people how well he can play center field last year, especially in the series. Gibson is in right field. The infield, Brookins, Trammell, and Whitaker, you know all about them around second base. Evans is at first base. Parrish is the catcher, and Jack Morris is the pitcher.
Pitcher indeed. A 19-game winner last year, 1-0 against the Yankees. He is 7-5 against the league. He is also 7-5 lifetime against New York. You might remember the no-hitter opening day for us, April the 7th of '84. Morris won his last decision on the 5th of June against Seattle. Did not get a decision in his last start against Baltimore. He holds a club record of leading the team in victories for 6 straight years. He leads the league with strikeouts. In fact, if he gets 2 today, he'll have 1,000 in his career. And boy, that's some man to give a 4-run first inning to.
And it's a tough job for the Yankees because, to use the expression, I guess, of the 80s, Vin, unanswered points or unanswered runs, the Yankees have to come back and put something on the scoreboard, and it'll be Jack Morris's job to say, oh, no, man, we got 4 runs last night and won. I got 4 runs today, and I'm going to beat you. But the Yankees have to answer that little barrage.
Well, as you look at Jack Morris, it'll be Ricky Henderson, Ken Griffey, and Don Mattingly in that order. When you look at Detroit, something really jumps out at you. They're 6th in batting, which is okay. 3rd in pitching. Their pitching has been 2nd in fewest runs allowed, but they are 13th in fielding. The Sparky knows that he's gotten 4, but this is the kind of a club that has been giving him back too much. We'll see now as Ricky Henderson with a 7-game hitting streak, followed by Ken Griffey and then Don Mattingly. Henderson, getting aboard, has also been stealing bases. He has stolen 21 out of 22. Brookins shortens up on the edge of the grass at third. 4-1. Henderson is really on the ladder. He hit 176 in April, a little over 340 in May, and look out, he's hitting 382 in June. Fastball missed. Ball 2, 2-0.
He doesn't give you much of a target in a batter's box. He crouches down low, and if you get that ball belt high, he'll reach those seats.
Henderson's career high in home runs is 16, and he has 6 so far this year, so he's well on a pace to top it. On the corner, 2-1. A light breeze blowing from right to left. It is a beautiful day in New York. Temperature 77 degrees, only 42% humidity. And the wind's out of the south, a zephyr at 8 miles an hour. Popped up into shallow right. Gibson along with Whitaker and Evans. Evans in foul ground.
You know, you pointed out that wind, and knuckleball pitchers are the only people that I know of among the pitchers that like to see that wind blowing out. Most like to see it blowing in, but the resistance helps the knuckleball. Didn't do much to help Niekro in that first inning.
I don't imagine wind is too much of a factor in this ballpark until you get it out of ways, because the arms of the ballpark are certainly wrapped securely around the diamond. There's no way for the wind to get to you unless you hit that ball a couple of 100 feet in the air. Here's Ken Griffey, and he fouls it away. Griffey started last night for Billy Martin for the first time since the 23rd of May. He's been struggling with the bat, however. And remember, he signed a contract over $6 million for 6 years. in '82, so he has to play. I mean, he's a big money man.
He's also one of the names that's bandied about as far as trades and deadline is today.
I guess the four names that are so prominently displayed when you talk about trades would be Ken Griffey, Andre Robertson, John Candelaria, and the big question mark, what do you do with Alan Wiggins? Now back. Well, you see the Red Sox had one not quite get away, but Toronto got off the floor to catch him. 5-5 in the 8th inning. 0-2 the count to Ken Griffey. Got him on the corner.
Mattingly is coming up. Watch how meticulous, if he does it this time, the last two games, how meticulous he is getting in there and checks his stance. We'll look down at his feet and make sure that he is set right. He likes to almost be a little bit pigeon-toed. He's that right foot going in because he wants to keep that right shoulder in. He doesn't want to open up too quickly.
The top man in the American League in RBIs with 44. He went 4 games without a hit last week for the first time in his career. He's a brilliant young hitter. One ball, one strike. Mattingly says that he said what he was quoted as saying. He was annoyed that Billy Martin had called a workout on an off day. He felt that they should have been allowed to get away from it. And then, of course, George Steinbrenner with an angry reply as far as attitude. 1-1. Ball 2. 2-1 to Don Mattingly. 2 out in the first inning. And Jack Morris with a 4-0 cushion to lean on here in the first inning. You know, Roger Angell once wrote that June is when baseball really begins. And that's really what's going on right now. Before the 6th of June, the Tigers hadn't played any game against the 4 Eastern contenders: Toronto, Baltimore, Boston, New York. And then 9 days ago, the Tigers began a 4-week stretch against them. There's a drive into the right field corner. Base hit for Mattingly. Playing to Karen is Gibson, and it gets away. Mattingly, down by 4, will play it cautiously and stop at second.
Ball is well hit. He really tattoos this one. Evans gives it a good try. Can't come up with it. It's a 2-base hit all the way, although it does get by Gibson as he tries to pick it up barehanded. Close ball game. That'll cost him a base.
So Mattingly at second base, and with 2 down, Dave Winfield coming up. The leader in doubles, Bill Buckner of the Red Sox, went into today with 18. But we'll see about Winfield. He started for the first time since June the 10th last night. He has a sprained left knee. So with Griffey and Winfield on the DL, they were really hurting here in the Bronx. 0-1, 1-0. The Yankees can only hope that Dave Winfield will be Mr. June compared to Reggie and Mr. October. Last year, Winfield in June hit .476. That'll cost him a strike. 1-1. Tim McClellan, the first base umpire. It was also called by Rich Garcia, the plate umpire. Larry Young at second, John Kosk at third. So 1-1 to Dave Winfield, who succinctly summed up April and May. He said, a waste. One ball and one strike. 4-0 Detroit, first inning. Boy, Morris really came hurtling off the mound. I thought he was going to go on his head on that pitch. 1-2. Gee.
It's a breaking ball, and he really put a lot into that one. And Winfield started, stopped, but had gone too far once again.
Don't forget now, 1 strike, and he'll give him 1,000 strikeouts in his career. And you know he'd love to make it Winfield. Popped in the air down the right field line. Gibson coming to the line, over to the seats, and it's well back out of play. The St. Louis Cardinals leading the Cubs 2-0 in the 7th inning.
Cardinals are really playing well. 3 games out. McGee, Herr,
and Vince Coleman. And a fellow named Whitey Herzog.
And Van Slyke's having a good year.
Yeah, good player. And how about that deal that brought Jack Clark to St. Louis? He's more important than the Arch. 1-2 to Dave Winfield. High pop fly into shallow left. Going out for it is Trammell. In is Herndon. It will be Herndon. So the Yankees come up empty. They leave Mattingly at second base. And at the end of an inning, the Detroit Tigers 4 and the Yankees nothing.
We're here at the 18th hole of this light beer open, and we've seen some real unusual shots today.
You said it.
Hey, Bob, I think you got a birdie.
I'll see. How am I supposed to hit it through this tree? No problem, Bert. How's Yuka going to get out of this one?
That calls for another light beer from Miller.
Make it 2, 3, 4. It's a good thing light's less filling.
Back to you, Mickey.
John, the last player's approaching the tee.
And when it goes to 100, you sell. I won't be long, girls. Hold my calls, will you? It hit the weather vane. It's in the drain. Here it comes out. It's going on the green. So it's in the hole.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
This open ought to be closed.
Now's the time for a Honda portable generator.
Hi.
Honda. Power anytime, anywhere.
Would you like some more coffee? I'd love some. But don't you think it's a little bright in here?
An American tradition continues with an old-fashioned doubleheader. First, Reggie Jackson leads the California Angels as they face the Chicago White Sox. Then on to Motown as the world champion Detroit Tigers host the New York Yankees. Plus regional action. Check local listings. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting. And the note on Billy having managed the Tigers to a title in '72. For the much-traveled Mr. Martin, his 4th term as Yankee manager. 72 must really seem like a long time ago. We go to the 2nd inning. Chet Lemon to start it off. Then Tom Brookins. And back to the top of the lineup in Lou Whitaker. Lemon has been bothered by strained ligaments in his left wrist, sliding in a game against Seattle earlier this year. As you can see, 2 home runs, 21 RBIs. (4-0) Detroit. Top of the 2nd. 0-2. If you joined us late, Whitaker and Trammell singled, with Trammell taking second on the throw to third. And with 1 out, Parrish a check swing bloop double to right for 2 runs. And Darrell Evans hit a knuckleball into the seats. And just like that, the Tigers had 4. 1-2 the count. Ground ball hard to third. Right there's Pagliarulo to throw him out. So 1 down, and Tom Brookins will be coming up. Darrell Evans with that key home run, the 2-run home run in the 1st inning. Darrell started off so very slowly this year. A lot of people thought he was finished, but anything but. He was teammates with Phil Niekro from 1970 through '76. So they know each other very well. 2-0.
corner, 2-1. One of 4 home runs hit by the Tigers last night. On the inside corner, 2-2. Brookins gave the Yankees a bad time last year. He hit over 400 against them. Knuckleball on the screen. Still 2-2. You know, Joe, we were talking before about the trading deadline being midnight tonight. But actually, the way the waivers are, there's not too much action up to midnight the 15th. But from there till September the 1st is when the action really comes.
It's really an extended trading deadline. It used to be, I mean, for guys like me, it was a very important day.
Sure. I was thinking of a lot of teams sitting in hotel rooms, sweating out what's going to happen tonight.
Not with the waivers, though.
2-2. Knuckleball lifted to right center field. Winfield on the bad leg, can't get there, and it's off the wall. Dave plays the carom, and it's a stand-up double for Tom Brookins. In doing a little research on that, the action happens after the 15th of June. Some of the biggest trades of late were between the 15th of June and the 1st of September. I mean, big names. Bill Madlock, Tommy John, Rick Honeycutt, Don Sutton, Sparky Lyle, Pete Rose, Gaylord Perry. They're just some of the big names who were traded after the so-called trading deadline. And here's Lou Whitaker.
Lack of a better expression, the joke is the DL. I mean, they put guys on there to maneuver rosters, and they come out with a Band-Aid on and said I was bitten by a tiger.
1-1, ball 2, 2-1. In looking at Phil Niekro, and you realize his age, you are reminded at this stage of the career of those veteran players who have been cut loose and whether they will be picked up. People like Tommy John, Larry Gura, Pat Zachary, and Doug Flynn have all been cut loose. Interesting to see if someone will pick them up. 46, April the 1st. No fooling. 2-1. Ground ball wide to first. Mattingly feeding Niekro coming over for the second out. Brookins taking third.
The shortstop.
Mattingly makes this play well. Now watch what he does when he once gets the ball. Now he's going to make sure he knows he has enough time. He finds his pitcher, shows him the ball, underhand toss, just absolutely dead perfect. It's page 22 of the Spalding Guide.
Evidently, the Yankee sheet has a typographical error as far as Mattingly and his consecutive games without an error. We have it at 137. The sheet had it at 157. It's important because once you get that high in a string, you are slowly getting close to the Major League record and the American League record. 0-1 to count. Trammell with a single in the first inning has hit in 7 straight. There's Rich Bordy throwing down in the Yankee bullpen. On deck, Kirk Gibson. 4-0 Detroit, and they have a runner at third with 2 out. 2-1.
When you talk about typographical errors like that, I often wonder, in my silly mind, the way it works, what does Joe DiMaggio think when he hears guys are on 4-game hitting streaks or 5-game hitting streaks?
Right. Wouldn't even think about it. 2-1 to count to Alan Trammell. 3-1. And of course, Joe D will live forever, particularly here in Yankee Stadium, where he is saluted. The Hall of Honors area between the bullpens in deepest left center field. Fastball, and that's hit down to short. Andre Robertson in the dirt, and Mattingly can't hold it. The run is in. And it is 5-0 Detroit.
Looked like a short hop. Mattingly down on one knee. Watch it once again. Pagliarulo thinks he can make the play, gets by him. Robertson. Play looked like it should have been made. Hit the grass. Good hop.
Not too bad for Robertson, making a first start in 2 weeks. A shaky throw, but it would appear as if someone with the talent of Mattingly might have been able to handle it. It'll be an error, and they'll charge it to Andre Robertson, I'm sure. So it is 5-0 Detroit. George Steinbrenner flew up from Florida, and he is here now to see for himself what is taking place in the house that Ruth built.
He has instituted some rules, such as press conferences, because I talked to both Billy and to George, and the things in the paper, I said, can I use one word like fiction? Yes, absolutely. Billy said he did not talk to the writer, and the writer's not here, so we can't check that out.
High pop fly. Andre Robertson stays with it. So 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 left. And at the end of an inning and a half, Tigers 5 and the Yankees nothing. In and around Pittsburgh, he was and always will be called the Gunner. Bob Prince for so many years. The voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates passed away a few days ago, and all of us who knew him will remember the Gunner for loud sports jackets, an outrageous sense of humor, a tremendous desire to live, and we are all so much richer for having spent some time with him.
Generosity, very unselfish man, giving of himself.
He was 68 years old. Don Baylor, ball 1. Baylor, with all of those other numbers, has been hit by the pitch 9 times this year. That's 177 times he's been nailed. And although he said he's angry about it, there's not much he can do, especially since he crowds the plate. Minnie Minoso's record is now in jeopardy. Minoso was hit 189 times. But if he's going to catch Ron Hunt, they'll knock the stripes off the uniform. He has to get hit another 80 times. 1-1. Shot foul outside of third and down the line, 1-2. The Tigers have tried to knock his stripes off. They're leading 5-0 in the second inning. Look at that. Chet Lemon, standing out there in center field, has empathy for Baylor. There's the overall view of Yankee Stadium. And they're playing him very, very deep. Got him. And there it is. Strikeout number 1,000. And Butch Weiniger has the ball. And let's see if he's going to give it to the plate umpire. He does. And Rich Garcia will bring it over and underhand it to Sparky Anderson. And that will go on the shelf in the den. 1,000 strikeouts. Ball was a little up, and he tried to uppercut it.
Well, it was a high breaking ball, and I don't know of a power hitter who will let a high curveball get by. That's the kind of a thing you'd put on your list of Santa Claus.
And the batter is Butch Weiniger, ball 1. Morris has struck out 9 in a game 3 times this year. And he now has 90 strikeouts, tops in the American League. 2-0. Weiniger is eligible to go the free agent route at the end of the season. And he hits one over the head of Evans into right field for a hit. Gibson to the track to backhand it, and he has trouble with it. And so Weiniger will take the extra base.
You just wonder if Gibson is getting to the ball, the angle, and he's going after it, if he's getting to the ball in time, because it looks like he's backhanding this ball like he tried the other one off the right there. And when you don't come up cleanly, forget it. You can't find the handle.
The Tigers anything but sparkling defensively. As we told you, they are 13th, next to last in fielding in the American League. That will go as a double, however, no error, and the batter is Willie Randolph. So 2 hits for the Yankees, each a double. Ball 1. Randolph hitting well over 300 for the last month. So he has lifted that average up to 270. 5-0 Tigers, second inning, and there's a banger into left field. Weiniger will go to third, and the ball goes right by Larry Herndon. So we told you that Sparky knows the Tigers score, but they give him away. And it is 5-1 with a runner in scoring position, and Herndon will draw the error.
It's an error. There's no other way to call it because it doesn't get in front of the ball. It's going to be the one-hand grab, and pretty obvious. If you don't come up with it, forget it. You're going to be in trouble.
So Sparky Anderson, seeing his ball club, 13th out of 14th, the bottom of the heap in fielding. So on a shaky play by Gibson, Billy Martin starting to think, well, maybe there's a little light at the end of the tunnel anyway, as Pagliarulo fouls it back. 0-1. 5-1 Detroit, bottom of the second, one out. Mike Pagliarulo, since the last week in May, has just stopped hitting completely. He's hitting less than 100 since that time. 1-1. That's one of the many problems that the Yankees have had. They're not getting anything offensively from third base. You put Pagliarulo and Berra together, and their last 68 at-bats, they're hitting a little over 100. 2-1 to count. On deck, Andre Robertson.
That hardly seems possible.
Yeah, hit 100. 100. In the big league. Fouled away. 2-2.
You know what that reminds me of? Abe Lemon, the basketball coach, once had a guy that scored 1 point in a game, and he said, congratulations, you've just scored one more point than a dead man.
On deck, Andre Robertson. 2-2. The count to Mike Pagliarulo, trying to pick up Willie Randolph at second base. 5-1 Tigers. Ball 3.
And that curveball hung like the one to Baylor. Baylor missed it, but it was a good one to hit.
We have not seen any real evidence of that great split-fingered fastball of Morris where the bottom drops out of it. 3-2 to Pagliarulo. And there's ball 4. Morris has walked as many as 7 in a game this year. So with 2 on and 1 out, Andre Robertson coming up. Sparky Anderson thinking, of course, about the double by Weiniger, which really should have been a single. The single by Randolph, plus the error that allowed Weiniger to score, and now a walk.
To a guy hitting 168.
Right. High fly ball to right field, and Gibson is there. So Robertson, after Pagliarulo walks on 4, swings at the first one and flies to right. And the batter will be Rickey Henderson.
Center fielder, Rickey Henderson.
Billy, the second time now he's seen his Yankees lose 3 straight. They lost 3 straight 3 different times under Yogi. Henderson fouled out in the first inning to Darrell Evans. The Yankees have been leaving a lot of men on base all year, averaging 7 a game. They left Mattingly in scoring position in the first inning. That's a strike. Well, just as soon as Toronto tied it up, the Red Sox came right back. And Boston leading Toronto 7-5 in the 8th. 5-1 Detroit. Yankees trying to get off the floor here in the second inning. And the runner goes on a line drive into left center. Scoring is Randolph. Pagliarulo to third. Henderson holding at first. And the Yankees
That had to be one of those plays where I'm sure Randolph looked over at Michael and said, he's not even looking at me. I can walk to third base, and got the okay. Many times at second base, you ask, and you better be sure. And Randolph was sure. He's taking off, head down. He knows he can make it. Now he stops because he hears the ball get hit, and he finds where it is, base hit, and scores easily.
So it is 5-2 Detroit, and suddenly Ken Griffey is the tying run at the plate. He struck out in the first inning, and he's been a big hitter when he's playing with runners in scoring position. 0-1, they're going to check, swing. So Greg Kost, the umpire at third, calling the strike.
Well, those hands are up in the air in a hurry, aren't they? I don't know about that one. I'd have to call that a ball. Sorry, Greg.
0-1 the count to Ken Griffey with Don Mattingly on deck. In the dirt, good save by Parrish. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers scored 4 in the first, added a gift run in the second. The Yankees have come back with 2 on 2 singles, a walk, a double, and an error in left field. The Yankees have not been scoring. They've scored 3 runs in their last 31 innings prior to this inning, where they picked up 2. And that's driven into left center field. Lemon on the dead run and can't get it. In comes Pagliarulo. Here comes Ricky Henderson. The throw to third. Safe is Griffey.
Lemon covered a lot of ground, just could not get it, and Henderson was about 2 steps from second base. Griffey almost catching him, and then, boy, did Henderson let out. I mean, he really put the overdrive into gear, and there you see Griffey sliding to third, and that brings Sparky out to the mound. He wants to talk to his pitcher.
So you have the case of a great confrontation between 2 pitchers who have pitched no-hitters, Phil Niekro and Jack Morris, and they have both been pushed around. It is Tigers 5, Yankees 4, and Aurelio Lopez gets up in the Tiger bullpen and begins to loosen up. Sparky just talking to his pitcher for a brief moment. And now the tying run is 90 feet away, and the number 1 hitter for Billy Martin is coming up to the plate, Don Mattingly. So Mattingly trying to pick up Griffey and get the Yankees even. Boy, did he take a look at that. And it'll cost him a strike. Talk about following a pitch into the catcher's mitt.
He was taking it all the way, and he was going to follow it all the way.
0-1. Strike, fastball. You know, last year, Mattingly hit .405 with runners in scoring position. Would you believe he has improved on that this year? And he led the league last year. Look at this year.
Hey, that was a tremendous pitch that Morris just made inside.
0-2. 1-2. On deck, Dave Winfield.
See how disgusted Morris was as we look at Winfield. In fact, Morris has walked off the mound. He's going to kind of try to regroup there. That was, again, a curveball. It just seemed to roll out of his hands, much like that bar of soap when you're taking a shower.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Little squirter off the end of the bat to Trammell. Over to first. Almost got Evans with his feet mixed up. And Darrell Evans just did shift his feet in time to stay on the bag.
Well, it sure looked like he missed a dance class.
We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
I just barely gets it. You would think he would almost been straddled and put the left foot on and reached over, but well, when you lose a dance ticket, what do you expect? Come on.
Interesting game because the difference is the bad throw by Andre Robertson, and it looked like a ball that Don Mattingly could handle. And then you had the misstep by Darrell Evans. And it is a one-run game. 5-4 Detroit in the third. And the birthday boy, Lance Parrish, who had a check swing gift of a double and 2 RBIs in the first inning, takes a strike.
Niekro's made 51 pitches going with that one. 26 strikes, 25 balls.
0-1 the count to Lance. Almost behind him. He jackknifed out of the way. A highlight for Lance Parrish in his baseball scrapbook. We were there June the 1st when Morgana came out and kissed him, and we loved his quote. Lance said he was worried about being kissed by Morgana because they say after she kissed Fred Lynn, Lynn went 3 for 40. So Parrish is a practical man. 1-2. Do you know, I can remember Morgana coming out on the field kissing Clete Boyer when he was with Atlanta. I mean, she has kissed a few people.
I did a show called To Tell the Truth, and she didn't kiss me and didn't kiss Gary Moore either.
Can't believe it.
Or Bill Cullen.
On the hands, little pop fly, and it'll be Andre Robertson. 1 away. And the batter will be Darrell Evans. So Phil Niekro, who was down 5-0, is now very much in the game. We have a final score for you that we can put up. And the Red Sox, the hottest team, and a team that Detroit will be playing shortly. Boston knocked off Toronto 7-5. So that makes Boston 4.5 back. And Detroit, for the moment, 4 back. It will go to 3.5 or revert to 4.5. And what a difference. Those who watch him, scouts, tell me that Evans can still handle the off-speed pitch. He has trouble with that good fastball. The good fastball pitcher can get it by him. 1-1. Larry Herndon on deck. The Tigers started the year, remember, 6 wins and no losses, and they've basically been almost a 500 ball club ever since. On the corner, 1-2. Five runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Tigers. 4 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Yankees. Now back.
Niekro does a lot of walking around on that mound. When he finishes his delivery, he certainly isn't anywhere near close to 60 feet. It starts out 60 feet 6 inches, but he's right in front of that mound. You can see he just beats a path to it.
And usually set pretty well in his follow-through, which is one reason why he picked up all those gold gloves along the way. 1-2. Line drive, base hit, as the Tigers now decide to have some fun. So Evans singles to left. He is 2 for 2. That's hit number 6 off Niekro and brings up Larry Herndon. Herndon struck out in the first inning and, of course, committed the error on the ball that got by him, hit by Willie Randolph in the second inning. The Tigers giveth, but the Tigers taketh away. So from 5-0, it's 5-4. Evans at first with 1 out in the third inning. 5-4 Detroit. You want to talk about a bad day? No. Larry Herndon last week tied a major league record. He stranded 9 runners in 3 at-bats. That's really heavy duty. One thing about Herndon, he is one of the quietest and modest players to play this game. Remember the World Series?
Yes.
He left in uniform rather than face people. He's a gentle soul. 2-0. High chopper over the mound, over second by a thrusting Robertson, and on his way to third goes Evans. So Herndon, a chopper up the middle, and once again Phil Niekro is up to his hips in trouble. First and third, 1 out. In looking at Niekro's games, it's amazing. But he is like the little girl with the curl. When he's good, he's very, very good. And when he's bad, horrid is an understatement. And he looks like he's in for one of those days. He's allowed 5 runs and 7 hits in 2 1/3 innings. And Johnny Grubb will test him now.
Grubb hit that ball very hard his first time up. A line drive right at Mattingly.
So Grubb against Niekro with Evans at third, Herndon at first. 5-4 Detroit, third inning. Brian Fisher now gets up in the Yankee bullpen. Remember, Rich Bordy threw earlier. Now it's Fisher. And then knuckleball almost came back over the plate. Weininger really had to go the other way. Get that big waffle mitt. 1 ball and no strike.
Doesn't catch it one-handed, though. He tries to get in front of that ball.
Fastball. So every now and then he'll sneak one in there, and that was on the corner. 1-1. Pagliarulo up about even with the bag at third. Mattingly holding a corner on Herndon at first. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You really don't catch the knuckleball. I mean, you have to wait for it and let it hit your glove and fondle it is what you have to do. If you go out to meet it, forget it. Better have track shoes and go back to the screen.
2 balls, 1 strike. The knuckleball, as so often been pointed out, is a misnomer. It is not really thrown with the knuckles. You dig the nails of the index and middle finger into the hide. Ball 3. 3-1.
Now here's where you got the test. His best pitch is his knuckleball. It's unpredictable. In the jackpot, 3-1. You know he's hitting.
And we'll watch Herndon.
It's not the knuckleball.
Fastball fouled away. Throwing a fastball 3-1, it makes you think about getting another fastball. And as you can see, the Tigers have avoided the pain of the double play quite well this year. 3-2 to Grubb. Herndon and Evans down the line at first and third.
He's getting it this time, though.
And hold it, balk, I believe.
Yep.
Bent his left knee.
Yep.
And the balk is called by Tim McClellan.
You could see Richie Garcia behind the plate telling him once again. McClellan called it, but it was the left knee. Broke it, started to go, and that was it.
So it is 6-4 Detroit. See if we can see it. Hey, there. Like a little scissor with the knees. It's too late to come over there.
The right leg.
Check swing on the knuckleball. So Evans and Herndon back-to-back singles. Evans is balked in. Herndon takes second. And it is 6-4 Detroit. Well, what a wild one this one is. And he's in the dirt, and he walks Grubb. So Niekro hanging on by his fingertip. And the batter will be Chet Lemon hitting 8th. Brian Fisher still throwing back of him in the bullpen. So Billy Martin very frustrated. First he sees the Tigers get out in front 5-0. Then he sees his club battle back to 5-4. And now the Tigers come right back on the balk to lead 6-4. Lemon grounded to third in the second inning. Ball 1. Lemon had a little 4-game hitting streak snap last night. Fastball. A little element of surprise. 1-1 to count to Lemon. Ball 2. 2-1. '46-year-old Phil Niekro. A little annoyed with himself. His best effort this year. He had a 2-hitter, no earned runs allowed against the California Angels. Fastball is hit into right field. Base hit. Herndon to third, and they'll hold him. And the throw cut off by Mattingly, and the bases are loaded. And that should be enough. Billy Martin is up the steps and on his way to the mound. So 6 runs, 8 hits. The batter will be Tom Brookins. Interesting, they are forever in New York, naturally, comparing the Yankees under Berra and the Yankees under Martin. You can compare Niekro. Under Berra, Niekro was 3-1. Under Billy, he is 4-3 and in danger of going 4-4. And Brian Fisher will be brought in. So it is 6-4 Detroit looking for more. We'll be right back after this.
17 Yankees, and when they write about him here, they refer to him as the boss. That's one of the names. And the boss, on the strength of the 2 stories that we were talking about, has instituted a couple new rules. Billy Martin will have a 15-minute press conference before the game. That's it. After the game, as long as he wants. But at the press conference, the official one, there'll be a tape recorder there. So there'll be no misquoting, and none of his brass, the Clyde King, Bobby Mercer, or Woody Woodward, they will not be having press conferences. They will not talk to the press. You ought to hire Steve Carlton, George Henrik, and Larry Herndon.
Steve could make all the reports for him. Brian Fisher, who has allowed just 1 earned run in his last 11 innings, working on Tom Brookins. So Brookins with the bases loaded. Remember, he doubled to right field in the 2nd inning. He has Herndon, Grubb, and Lemon out on the line. 6-4 Detroit. Breaking ball hit foul, and the count on 1. Ironically, Fisher is one of a trio of pitchers coming over to New York from the Atlanta system. Phil Niekro, Joe Cowley, and now Brian Fisher, who came to New York in the deal that sent Rick Cerrone to Atlanta. For Niekro, he allowed at least 6 runs, and 5 of them earned. High fly ball into right center. Coming in and over is Henderson. Tagging up is Herndon. Henderson for the catch. Herndon coming to the plate, and the throw is just late. Just late. And that run belongs to Niekro, and it makes it 7-4 Detroit.
It looked like they were going to be able to get him. Weiniger was right there on the line. I have to take a look at this again. He had to catch the ball, and by that time he was by him.
You see with the Tigers the other day, had 4 sacrifice fly balls in one game. Ball clubs that go weeks and weeks without getting 4. It's a record. Here's Lou Whitaker with runners at first and second. Ball 1. Take another look from another angle, Joe.
Now, he's got a chance to knock him off, but he's got to catch the ball first, and he tried to shoulder him, but he was by him.
You know, when he tried to shoulder him, I thought perhaps Butch Weiniger might tag him on the hand. You see how that hand came flying back? It was almost hanging out there like a tailgate. It would have been an expensive shoulder wave.
Oh, yeah.
Whitaker singled and scored in the 1st inning. Grounded out in the 2nd. And he hits one to deep left center field. Back goes Henderson, away back. He's got it, and he had to go deep. Look at that sign.
Look at Whitaker. Whitaker can't believe that ball was caught. Of course, in Detroit, that's a home run.
So add 2 for Detroit. And at the end of 2.5, 7-4 Tigers.
How many shakes can you get from one disposal?
Going.
And it's got to have an effect on the ball club. Players read the papers, and they don't like what they read. And if you're not really concentrating, you can be in deep trouble in this game.
However, for the Yankees, they know that they were able to come back close, down 5-0. They got to 5-4. Once again, they face a challenge. 7-4 in favor of Detroit, although Jack Morris has been anything but overly convincing. And he'll be pitching to Dave Winfield to start it off. Then it'll be Don Baylor and Butch Weiniger. On the corner. 7 runs and 8 hits against Phil Niekro in 2 1/3 innings. Morris, meanwhile, has allowed 4 runs and 5 hits in his 2 innings. 0-1. You know, an interesting pattern has developed in the last 3 years in the American League East, 1982, 3 and 4. The team that finished first was the team that had finished second the previous year. The team that finished fifth was the team that finished first the previous year. Ground ball hard to Brookins, makes a good stop to get him. Big play.
Oh, he made that look so routine, and that was an outstanding play. The ball was hit very hard, and when he comes up, it's almost in one motion. He just fires that ball across. Watch him when he's low to the ground, comes up with it. I mean, it's in one motion. Here we go. Sets all the way across, long throw. That was a major league play.
One down, and the batter, Don Baylor. To conclude the thought on the trend, if the pattern continues this year, the Tigers would finish fifth, and the winners of the division would be the Toronto Blue Jays. One and 0. Foul back, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. The schedule right now is so important. For instance, for the Tigers, a 4-week stretch playing exclusively Toronto, Baltimore, Boston, and New York. Those are the same teams the Tigers will play in the final 4 weeks of the season. That's popped up to Evans. Well, baseball remembers. You bet the tradition continues, and this was a very big day in Brooklyn, and particularly in the life of Johnny Vandermeer. 1938, and the brilliant left-hander in Ebbets Field pitched his second consecutive no-hitter. John Vandermeer. 47 years ago, and you're looking at a reminder on Jack Morris' back. 0-1. Interestingly enough, before this week, the only one of the other 4 contenders the Yankees had faced was the Red Sox. The Orioles and Blue Jays had played each other, but none of the other 3 contenders before June, and the Red Sox had met only the Yankees before June. So as we said, the season is really just starting in the American League. The Tigers' first 35 games were against the American League West. In there. High fly ball to center. Chet Lemon is there. Well, we didn't think we were going to see one. A side has been retired in order. Put that in a time capsule, and at the end of 3, the Tigers 7 and the Yankees 4. When Rosario steps into the ring to fight Frankie Randall, a scheduled 10-round bout from London, England. Plus, Sports Journal takes a look at fan violence, featuring an interview with Baseball Commissioner Peter Ueberroth. Coming up tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 in Los Angeles, only on NBC Sports World. And there are stuff things dreams are made of. A whole family of kids at the ballpark. We had a big Walt Disney festival, so the youngsters are even younger than usual in attendance. Alan Trammell, ball 1. Trammell single to center, aboard on an error. 1 for 2. He is hitting 7 straight. 1-1. That's Brian Fisher picking up the pieces for Phil Niekro. It is 7-4 Detroit in the 4th inning. Fouled away. 1-2.
Well, Richie Garcia, the plate umpire, really is vulnerable to the foul tip. Usually the catcher will, umpire will get behind the catcher pretty much, so the catcher is some kind of protection. And especially with our center field shot, you can see how wide open he is for the foul tip. Well, he can come straight back. I mean, really gun him.
He's umpiring more like a National League umpire, working inside the hitter than directly behind the catcher.
And also holding on to both catchers. I mean, there's 2 things that I've noticed. Well, 3 things. The position is one. The other thing is getting down on your knees, and the other one is holding on to the catcher. I mean, that's a new thing.
And remember the big outside chest protector that American League umpires always had. As Trammell is caught looking, down he goes. One away.
The right fielder, Kirk Gibson.
Yep, one around.
There are shadows, as you can see, around home plate. Lattice work of sunlight and shade, and that has to make it a little tougher picking up that baseball. Fisher, of course, has a good live arm. Kirk Gibson popped up twice, 0 for 2.
This time would be comparable to that World Series time when he used to have so many problems here.
1-1. They used to always talk about the smoke and haze in Yankee Stadium. I remember Jackie Robinson going out into left field before a series and looking in. He could learn everything but the haze. You had to wait until the World Series crowd got here. 1-2.
I remember Yogi explaining it best, too. He said it gets late early out here.
1-2 to Kirk Gibson. The haze, of course, is seen basically when you are in left field. But Gibson is punched out. So Fisher, who gave up 2 long fly balls in the 3rd inning, now comes back with a little smoke and blows down Trammell and Gibson. And the batter will be Lance Parrish.
He really placed that in a good spot right at the belt buckle. Gibson hits that. All he's going to have is a handful of toothpicks because that bat would have broken right in his hand.
Little breaking ball, hard slider on the corner. 0-1 to count. 7-4 in favor of Detroit. Top of the 4th inning. 1-1.
If he gets Lance Parrish in, this is the kind of inning on a bench the Yankees will be saying, hey, we're going to hold him right here and get some runs. We'll win this game.
That's like the Mets were talking about how inspired they are offensively when Dwight Gooden pitches his way out of a jam. Popped in the air, foul, out of play.
He's picked up the pace, and he's given Fisher has given that Yankee ball club a boost, and it's up to the Detroit club to get something going and slow it down because he's just mowing him down.
And waiting his turn on deck, Darrell Evans, who's 2 for 2 today, including a 2-run home run. Breaking ball. That's all that Parrish is seeing. 1-2 the count.
How about that Tuesday night massacre, Phillies and the Mets? Talking about them, all the runs.
26-7.
Referred to it as a game against the Philadelphia Eagles.
1-2. High fly ball into left field. Coming in for it, Ken Griffey. So an easy 4th inning as the Tigers for the first time are defanged. And at the end of 3.5 innings, Detroit 7, New York 4.
Leads the California Angels as they face the Chicago White Sox. Then on to Motown as the world champion Detroit Tigers host the New York Yankees. Plus regional action. Check local listings. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
You're looking at a picture of Pio DeSalvo, a good guy, one of the trainers of the Tigers, and he's had an unfortunate thing happen to him that Bill Lee wrote about him in his book about being a brother of the Boston Strangler. One of the national publications has picked it up. It's just not true. He's not even related, and he's getting this bad rap, and he's upset about it, and I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
Pio DeSalvo. He's all right. One of mine.
Willie Randolph. Single to left field, eventually came around to score a run. It is 7-4 Detroit. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. 2-0. Evans, Whitaker, Trammell, and Brookins, Herndon, Lemon, and Gibson. Parrish behind the plate. And Randolph trying to get something started. I just broke myself up over a line in the New York paper. There's a line drive base hit into right center. Gibson over to cut it off, and he can't do it. He's had trouble getting the ball cleanly out there, either in right field or in right center, and that's a double for Willie Randolph. There was a line in the paper referring to that Philadelphia Mets game where it was 26-7 in favor of Philadelphia. The writer said he was waiting for the Mets broadcaster in the 9th inning to talk about the leadoff man and say he's just trying to get something started. So Gibson just can't get that ball. And Randolph at second with nobody out. Pagliarulo, Robertson, and Henderson due out.
You know, I just wonder if there's something ailing as far as Gibson. We didn't have a chance to talk to the Tigers, and I'll tell you why.
Ground ball pulled, so if nothing else, he gets a man over to third. One out. And the batter, Andre Robertson.
There was a big closed-door meeting as they were taking the strike vote. So we didn't get a chance to visit with them.
Let's check the scores. Orel Hershiser was very much on his game. Got help from Pedro Guerrero. Pitched the three-hitter. 3-0. Meanwhile, a tough one, really just warming up. The White Sox and California battling for first place. The White Sox leading California by a half. Baltimore, marking Earl Weaver's return, wins another one over Milwaukee 7-5. We have some more. Of course, last night, a milestone. Tom Seaver won number 295 as he gets close to 300. And Phil Niekro, who started today, will not win 292. Oakland beat Cleveland 8-6. The Red Sox blew a big lead. Toronto caught them, so Boston came back to win it anyway. 7-5. The Red Sox are 4.5 back. St. Louis beat Chicago 2-0. They are 2 games behind the Cubs. Check swing, a little roller, and coming to the plate is Randolph, the out at first. That makes it 7-5 Detroit. So a modest thing in Vainoon, this check swing, but he'll take it. An RBI. Evans will run it to the bag. So 7-5 Detroit. Willie Randolph brings in the run, knocked in by Andre Robertson, and Ricky Henderson, who was fouled out and singled. He has hit in 8 straight coming up. 7 runs, 8 hits for Detroit. 5 runs, 6 hits for New York. Right, inside corner. Henderson can't believe it. Oh, umpires love that.
Oh, when they turn around like that and get the crowd riled up, umpires really like that. Look at Richie. Here's the pitch. Of course, Ricky thought it was inside.
0-1 to count to Ricky Henderson. Ground ball to shortstop. Alan Trammell over to Evans in time. So they get a run on the double by Randolph, and at the end of 4, the Tigers 7, Yankees 5. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. All the youngsters received baseball gloves, and they look like good ones, huh?
Boy, I think that's great. I mean, the youngster who, for a lot of reasons, family couldn't afford it, comes to the ballpark, 14 and under. He's got himself a pretty good-looking glove. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it sure is. Darrell Evans, Larry Herndon, and Johnny Grubb. That's a strike. 0-1. Evans hit a 2-run home run in the first inning, single to left in the third, and scored on the balk charge against Phil Niekro. So he's been very busy. 1-1. Brian Fisher having to pick up for Phil Niekro. Tigers 7, Yankees 5. You know, the final 3 days of last season, the Tigers were here at Yankee Stadium. A couple of interesting things happened in that series that still kind of linger here. Ball 3. For instance, Willie Hernandez blew a save opportunity for the only time in 1984. And Hernandez allowed the hit to Don Mattingly that gave Mattingly the batting title over teammate Dave Winfield. That was Mattingly's final at bat in the 8th inning of the last game. That's cutting it close. This is cutting it close. A base hit for Evans, his 3rd. So he's got a home run and 2 singles. So that's the first hit of Brian Fisher. The San Diego Padres and the Giants, that's the top and the bottom. San Diego leading Houston by 3, and Houston lost. The Giants trailing by 12, and San Diego pretty much wearing the Giants out, although San Francisco did win last night in 11 innings. 9 hits for Detroit. Ball 1. 1-0. I'd like to remind our viewers we'll be selecting the NBC Light Beer from Miller Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ball game. But boy, we got a lot to go. We're in the 5th inning, and it's 7-5 Detroit. Both teams get the added lift. They know Toronto lost. 2-0. Herndon struck out, singled, and eventually came around to score in the 3rd inning. Missed with the fastball.
Just to add a footnote to what you just said, Vin, it's not time to play scoreboard baseball, but make no bones about it, they're all looking to see what Toronto and the clubs ahead of them are doing.
Yeah, especially since they're in that stretch now where they're just going to play each other for a while.
Right.
It's a time to get healthy, time to catch up. In there. And of course the Tigers are finally getting their act together. They've won 5 straight. Sparky knows they can play better than they have been playing, and he is hoping that they have finally turned the corner. Detroit could be 3.5 back if they win today. That's sliced down the right field line and foul.
Boy, those are dangerous down that line. I'll tell you, you have to wait till the last minute. You can see that foul ball painted yellow. If it hits above that blue, forget it, home run.
You know, really, after looking at so many of the multi-purpose stadiums, and you walk up to home plate here and see 310 down the right field line and 312 down the left field line, that's a jolt. Most ballparks today, it's at least 330.
Yeah.
It does fall away, however, all the way to 411 in left center. And there goes the runner. Swung on and missed. And that takes care of Darrell Evans.
Evans not known for his speed. Weiniger had a lot of time, and he gets rid of it in good shape. Good ball to handle by Randolph, and Evans never does get to the base.
That's 3 strikeouts for Brian Fisher. 2 down in the 5th inning. And the batter is Johnny Grubb. Strike. Grubb lined out. He had a bullet at Mattingly and walked in the 3rd inning. Short hopped out of the dirt. So Garcia put a new one in play. You know, we were talking before about the fact that Tigers don't ground into double plays. And by having somebody run that time, they got the double play on a strikeout. 1-2.
This young Fisher has been very impressive. He's throwing good fastball, hard slider. He's been around the plate.
2 of the best young, virtually unknown pitchers, I think, that come in the leagues is this kid with the Yankees, Brian Fisher, and Roger McDowell of the New York Mets. McDowell's out right now for about a week, and they really miss him. Strike 3, and Mr. Fisher has really done a job. He has struck out 4, and at the end of 4.5, the Tigers 7 and the Yankees 5.
I'm Mr. Goodrich.
5 Detroit. Ken Griffey, Don Mattingly, and Dave Winfield, the numbers 2, 3, and 4 batters in the Yankee lineup. Ball 1.
I found a statistic when I get time on that Mets game. Just finally found it that I'm going to lay on you. It's amazing.
The 26-7.
That's right. 1
ball and no strikes. Griffey struck out and tripled off speed. Not many changes thrown by Jack. And he's behind now, 2 balls and no strikes. He is not particularly impressive. He's allowed 5 runs and 6 hits. And he is certainly not pitching a strikeout game. He has struck out only 2. Fastball hit down the left field line, foul, and out of play.
Now's my chance.
Lay it on me, baby.
All right. The Phillies who scored in that game advanced a total of 360 feet, the distance around the bases, okay? Times 26. That's 9,360 feet or 3,120 yards. So after less than a week, Herschel Walker's record fell.
Love it.
Huh?
I love it. 1
week he held that record, Herschel Walker.
You know, the Philadelphia Eagles, you mentioned it before. The Eagles' high score for a game last year, 27 points. And the Phillies almost caught them. 2-2 to Ken Griffey. And a shot inside first and down the line. Chasing it is Gibson. And into second base easily goes Griffey, and here come the Yankees.
It's pretty obvious that Morris does not have his real good stuff. But the test of the good pitcher is how does he work when he doesn't have his good stuff. He's hanging tough, but they're racking him.
I tell you, they're racking him to the tune of 4 doubles and a triple. 5 of the 7 Yankee hits, extra bases. Griffey at second and Don Mattingly the batter. And then Dave Winfield. 7-5 Detroit in the 5th.
Don Mattingly.
Mattingly double to right, grounded to short. They really play him to pull, wide open up the middle. And he bunts up along third. Morris, bare hands, off balance throw, gets away from Evans. Coming to the plate is Griffey to score.
That's one of those plays that not only do you get the run, it's upsetting because Morris tries to make the play. He pulls Evans way off the bag, pick up a run. They're only 1 behind. They got the tying run on.
It is 1-1 in the parlance of the official score, as you say, Aurelio Lopez loosening up in the Detroit bullpen. A bunt single from Mattingly, allowing Griffey to go to third. The throwing error charge to Morris, allowing Griffey to score. So Billy Martin saw his team down 5-0 and 7-4, and the Yankees have battled back to 7-6. And Sparky is wondering what lead is big enough and safe enough for his Tigers to hold on to. And here's Winfield, nobody out. 7-6 Detroit. Ball 1. So 4 doubles, a triple, and a bunt single, among other things. We've had a couple of errors, 3 in the game. We've had a balk. We're getting it all. I think Walt Disney did something to the infield. 1-0. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Winfield flied to left and lost a hit on a good play by Tom Brookins in the 3rd inning.
Winfield really stands way off of that plate. He strides into the ball. You would think he would not be able to cover that outside part of the plate, but with his stride he can. And when you push him back like Morris did on that first pitch, you really have to go inside.
Mattingly does not represent too much of a threat at first base. He only has 2 career stolen bases. He represents the tying run, and with nobody out, he is barely taking a lead. Two balls and 1 strike. Oh, a change up, and he started his swing yesterday. Oh, what a pitch.
He really changed speeds. Winfield way out in front. I can't help but recall what Bucky Harris always says, that pitching is throwing strikes at different speeds. And that's what that was, a good strike at a different speed.
2 balls and 2 strikes, the count of Dave Winfield. Nobody out. Big chopper to third. Brookins down to Whitaker. Whitaker back to Evans. Double play. So 2 down, and let's go to Bill McAtee.
All right, Vin, as the Yankees try to come back in Anaheim, the Angels have come back and taken the lead against the White Sox with 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th. The second here is Reggie Jackson, who had doubled, scores on the sacrifice by Gary Pettis. It is 2-1 California.
All right, Bill, and a lot at stake over there, of course. The Angels a half a game behind the White Sox. Now you have Don Baylor with the bases empty. Baylor has struck out and popped up. And he drills it foul upstairs, but it was foul the moment it left the plate.
Then I almost feel compelled to say this, that Brookins, we've seen enough Tiger games, he really grows on you. I mean, he's one of those guys that you see his name in the lineup, you take him for granted, but he pulls off a lot of good plays and gets a lot of big hits.
Third base is a very interesting position in looking and examining each team here. The Yankees having trouble getting any offensive output or input from Pagliarulo and Berra. And, of course, at third for Detroit, they had Pitaro and Brookins, and they were even talking about playing Evans over there. 0-2. And that hit something, and it hit Baylor.
Look at him. He doesn't even rub. He's not going to rub. Ball players do not like to let the pitcher know that it hurts, even if it's the best fastball, especially if it's the best fastball.
That's the 10th time he's been hit by a pitch this year.
He is so strong that that ball sounded like it hit his bat.
That means he has been hit 10 times this year, and look at that. They've nailed him 178. So he's the tying run. And Butch Weiniger doubled and flied out the hitter. A ground ball under Evans' glove, picked up by Whitaker, back to Evans, and they get the out. So it's the basic 3-4-3 ground ball.
That's what it is. 3-4-3. How do you like that? Trick plays yet. Max Patkin is back.
And at the end of a wild 5, 7-6 Detroit. Exceptionally well. 2 2/3 innings of brilliant relief. He has struck out 4, allowed 1 hit, and that was followed by the strikeout and the erasure at second base. Rich Garcia, the plate umpire, went over to the Yankee dugout and is now over in the Detroit dugout talking to Sparky Anderson. And the message, an agreeable one, Sparky nodding yes.
Wonder if it's the lights.
Maybe.
You know,
6th inning.
Talking about third base with the Tigers, Howard Johnson was there, and they traded him and got Terrell, who did a pretty good job on him last night.
Oh, Terrell has done a great job, winning 7. Meanwhile, Pojo, as they call him, struggling with the bat for the Mets. Right. 0-1. This telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Now back. 0-2. Chet Lemon grounded to third, single to right. So Chet is 1 for 2. Hitting .262. Brian Fisher trailing by 1. What about trailing? When Billy Martin took over, the Yankees were in 6th place, tied 4.5 out of first place. They're in 5th place today, 8.5 back. The Tigers began the day in 2nd place, 4.5 back. And remember, Toronto lost. The closest the Yankees have been to first place since Billy's return, they were 2.5 games out a few weeks ago. A fisted ball into right field, and a flare, as the modern-day ball player calls it. So it's a looping single to right for Chet Lemon. He's 2 for 3. Second hit off Fisher. Hit number 10 for the Tigers. George Steinbrenner wearing his green jacket for good luck. And the batter is Tom Brookins.
Looking for a bunt.
Brookins doubled, and he had a scoring fly ball against Fisher with the bases loaded in the 3rd inning. Lemon taking his lead at first.
Weiniger asked him to throw to first base, and he did get a message. Brookins did slide his hands up the bat handle a bit.
The lights are on at Yankee Stadium. So evidently that was the discussion. Rich Garcia going to each dugout. Beautiful day, but the home plate area, in fact, half of the diamond in shade. The bunt is down. And Mattingly has to go to his second baseman, Randolph. So Lemon is sacrificed to second with 1 out. Now they'll leave it up to Whitaker and Trammell to pick him up.
Second baseman,
Not a bad idea. Whitaker has 27 RBIs. Trammell has 25. Pretty good shot at it.
And one of the things you can bet that Weiniger said is watch the first pitch to this guy. He jumps on it.
Well, he singled to right, grounded to Evans, and flied to center. Ball one. Lou Whitaker hitting .327 against young Brian Fisher. Good breaking ball for a strike.
Well, you gotta like this arm you're looking at.
Detroit 7, New York 6. Top of the 6th inning. And that's in there. Strike two, 1-2.
Two breaking balls for strikes. He's got a chance to get him here or go 2-2. He can set up his 2-2 pitch with this one.
He's gotten stronger as he's gotten older, and the fastball takes care of him.
He just rode a high fastball. You could see that thing bend in the middle.
5 strikeouts for Brian Fisher.
The shortstop.
Watch this fastball. You can really see it. This is a high riding fastball. He just swung under it. He blew it right by him.
So Fisher now with 2 down, Lemon at second base, 7-6 Detroit in the 6th, and he has to contend with Alan Trammell and vice versa. Trammell is 1 for 3. Fisher struck him out in the 4th inning. Ground ball by the mound. Randolph is there. So Lemon is left at second base. And at the end of 5.5 innings and a wild one in the house that Ruth built. Tigers 7, Yankees 6.
Ford Consulting.
And we can show you what happened. He was at second base with 2 out, and watch him going to third on the 3rd out. He suddenly pulled up lame. Didn't look like a hamstring. It looked more like a hip. So Barbaro Garbe will go into center field. And Lemon comes out. So Lemon, who had been hampered by a bad wrist, now has hurt his leg or his hip. And Garbe is in center field.
It was almost simultaneous. He looked like he was watching the ball, and as he turned his head is when he pulled up lame.
Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph, Mike Pagliarulo, and Andre Robertson in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Tigers 7 and the Yankees 6. The Tigers have led 4-0, 5-0, 5-4, 7-4, 7-5, and now 7-6. Randolph has singled and doubled, 2 for 2, batting .278. Big breaking ball on the outside corner, 0-1. Randolph singled, eventually came around to score on a base hit by Henderson, doubled and scored on a check swing ground ball by Andre Robertson. 0-1. Change, but he got it in the dirt. 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Jack Morris trying to win his 8th, make his record 8-5. Ball 2.
Morris has made 78 pitches, 50 strikes, 28 balls. Niekro threw 73 pitches in 2 2/3 innings.
What a contrast. 2-1 pitch is ball 3. So the Yankees down by 1, and they would love to get the leadoff man on. And that's a tribute to Morris and his skill. In fact, in 14 previous starts, only twice has he allowed more than 6 hits. The Sparky is on the phone to the pen. A high fly ball to right field. Gibson coming over, squinting up into that bright sky. 1 away. We'll pick up in a moment, but right now an update, and here's Bill McAtee.
All right, Vin, another good one going on down in Anaheim. Top of the 6th, and the White Sox have come right back and tied it up against the Angels. Oscar Gamble with that double down the left field line to score Greg Walker from second. And the White Sox and Angels, playing for the lead in the West, are tied at 2.
So way out there, they're tied at 2. And here the Tigers leading the Yankees by 1. Bill Shearer, the left-hander, is up in the bullpen. Pagliarulo hits a ground ball to Whitaker, and that's that. 2 down. There's Bill Shearer, the skinny left-hander. Aurelio Lopez was up a couple of times in the pen, but now they've gone to Shearer. And Andre Robertson is due up. Boy, Pagliarulo was so frustrated, he smashed his helmet on the top step and hurled it away. And Don Pasqua, a power-hitting left-hand batter, will come up and hit. Dan Pasqua is a kid with a lot of talent, and Billy Muffet is going to go out and talk to Jack Morris.
And you have the veteran pitcher out there. He certainly likes to know what any information they have on the new player, and I'm sure that's what Billy Muffet is talking about. Jack has not had his good stuff, but again, the sign of the good pitcher, what does he do when he doesn't have the good stuff? And he's just been hanging on by his fingernails and scraping around. And if they can get one more inning in, they've got Mr. Hernandez out there, and that erases a lot of mistakes.
Dan Pasqua homered with his first major league hit. He grew up about 10 minutes from Yankee Stadium. Last year at Nashville, he struck out 148 times. And in spring training, Lou Piniella was his batting coach. And when Henry Cotto was on the disabled list, Bobby Mercer convinced the front office to bring up Pasqua from Columbus. He was hitting .327. He had 11 home runs and 43 RBIs in 43 games. 1 ball and no strikes. Foul back. 1-1 to count. Pasqua was born in Yonkers, lives over in New Jersey. He'll be 24 in October. Only been playing professionally since 1982. 2-1. In batting practice, he shook up his teammates. He hit 4 in a row upstairs to right field. They were awesome, so you know he's a powerhouse. He hit 33 home runs at Nashville last year, so you make a mistake and you have a brand new ball game. He's well put together, an even 6 205-pounder. He was an All-American at William Patterson College. Two and two to Dan Pasqua. And he lifts it back a shortstop, and Alan Trammell signals he has it. So the Yankees are gone in order. At the end of 6, it remains Tigers 7 and the Yankees 6. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Parrish and Darrell Evans. Gibson, who was hit in the mouth by Tim Burtsis, a good friend, took 17 stitches to close the wound, and we saw him recently playing, showing no ill effects. Hitting .270, 11 home runs, 40 RBIs on the corner. Gibson, the following day, after taking one in the mouth, hit a home run. Of course, I'll tell you one thing about Gibson. He is be eligible for free agent, and I've heard many a manager say, you give me 25 players who are playing for free agency and I'll win the pennant by 50 games because they just will bear down on every pitch. Fouled away.
I'm not so sure you need 25.
No.
Give me the starting 9.
That's it. 2-2, the count to Gibson. Brian Fisher, who picked up for Phil Niekro in the 3rd inning, has struck out 5, allowed 2 hits and no runs. Fouled away. He has faced 11 batters and went 1 over because he had 1 double play. Billy Martin trying to figure out what moves are left with his personnel and what the Tigers can do. And blown away is Gibson. That's a half a dozen strikeouts for young right-hander Brian Fisher. As we mentioned, he and Roger McDowell are the two outstanding kids here in New York. McDowell with the Mets.
Watch where he spots it. It's the same spot that got Gibson in the fourth, right at the belt buckle. Good high fastball inside. Tough ball to handle.
Fisher now takes dead aim and Lance Parrish, who is double, popped up, and flied to left. Ball one. We told you about Lance Parrish. We showed you when he was kissed by Morgana, and we also gave you his quote about he didn't want to have happen to him what happened to Fred Lynn, who went 3 for 40 after Morgana kissed him. So the question is, well, what did he do after being kissed? Bobby Meacham unable to handle it.
Is that what he did?
Yeah. Since he's been kissed by Morgana, he has 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and he's been hitting around 270. So it's not a kiss of death as far as his batting average. You'll get a base hit on that single off Meacham's glove. So he's 2 for 4 is Lance Parrish. Hit number 3 off Fisher, number 11 in the game for Detroit. That's what Darrell has done. A 2-run home run in the first inning. Singled and scored on a balk in the third. Single and was erased trying to go as Herndon struck out in the 5th inning. So Evans has been very busy. He has scored 2. 3 for 3 is driven into. Juan Berenguer throwing now in the Detroit bullpen. So we've seen Lopez up, Shearer up, and now Berenguer. Of course, a big blow for Sparky Anderson is the fact that Milt Wilcox, who was a 17-game winner last year, is on a disabled list. And he's now rotating people like Doug Bear, Randy O'Neill, and Juan Berenguer in a starting role.
The other thing that's made a big factor with these Tigers, the Scribinis, the extra men have not had the year they had last year.
There's no Rupert Jones, just to mention one. Line drive down the right field line and in the corner. On his way to third is Parrish. Winfield gets it into Randolph, and there are runners at second and third with 1 out in the 7th inning. So the Tigers leading 7-6, trying to open it up again. And for Darrell Evans, what a day.
The left fielder.
Hit the ball hard. He chopped a high fastball right over Mattingly's head. He got up as high as he could, but no chance to make that play.
So Brian Fisher has now allowed 4 hits. Second and third, 1 out. Larry Herndon, the batter. Down in the Yankee bullpen, Dave Righetti. On deck, the left-hand hitting Johnny Grubb. So there's Righetti, who in the last year and a half has had 42 saves, 1 less than Willie Hernandez. He has been absolutely brilliant. Herndon struck out, single, struck out again. The Yankee infield is up. And that brings up a point here in New York. And that's hit up the middle. So Herndon drives in Parrish. Right behind him is Evans to score. Henderson unable to get off a throw. And it is 9-6 Detroit. So every time the Yankees get close, the Tigers back them off. So Brian Fisher, who was sailing along so nicely, is roughed up now for 2 singles and a double for 2 runs. And the batter is Johnny Grubb. 9 runs, 13 hits for Detroit. 6 runs, 8 hits for the Yankees. Grubb has lined out, walked, and struck out. That's a strike. Tigers beat the Yankees 4-0 last night. And of course, earlier this year, the Yankees had a 12-game home winning streak. Even though they've been very successful at home, the Yankees have been shut out 3 times, and all 3 here at the stadium. Rich Bordy now has replaced Dave Righetti in the Yankee bullpen. Busted bat roller down to second. Randolph feeding Meacham back to Mattingly, too late. And interference is called. And it is the second base umpire, Larry Young, who called it. So it'll be a 4-6-3 double play. Watch.
I got to see this myself. It looked like he didn't get out of the baseline, but he went after him right there. That's the interference right there.
I should say it is. You could win your letter on the football team with that block.
Footwork presents Baseball Remembers. Brought to you by New Footwork, Athlete's Foot Remedy. Your ultimate weapon to cure and protect against athlete's foot. Maury Wills remembers the pressure of breaking Ty Cobb's stolen base record.
See, Ty Cobb stole 96 bases in 156 games. And they came to me after the game, after the 155th game, and said, Maury, the commissioner said the record would not be recognized if you don't break it in the same amount of games as Ty Cobb. So I said, okay, so I'll get the 2 tomorrow. All I got to do is get on, though. I put together every ounce of experience, know-how, momentum, into trying to steal a base off of Larry Jackson. I never did have much success. But to wrap it up, I stole the bases. Got a hold of the bag, just hugged it. Stayed there until they came and tapped me on the shoulder. Said, you got it. I was glad it was over.
Introducing your ultimate weapon.
The thing is, watch Meacham. He doesn't umpire the play. He tries to complete it, although he knows he's going to be the victim leaving that scene of the accident. He really got clobbered.
Boy, you're talking about the guts around second base. So Bobby Meacham hangs tough, having just come into the game for Andre Robertson. And now in the 7th inning, the Yankees once again have slid backwards. It is 9-6 Detroit. Ricky Henderson fouled out, singled and scored a run and grounded out. So Henderson 1 for 3. Morris, make no mistake about it, has been laboring today. Jack has given up 6 runs and 8 hits. And Bill Shearer is throwing back of him in the Tiger bullpen. A strike. There's Bill. Line drive right at his belt buckle. Oh, doctor.
There's nothing he could do but catch that ball. It was drilled. It hit him right at the belt. Right, I don't know if the belt buckle, but watch him. The follow through. He's ready to feel his position. Boom. Morris reminds me of the fighter who keeps getting hit, goes back to the corner and says, hey, what's happening out there? Look at his reaction to that one. Ow.
So a comebacker almost takes his right hip off, but he stays with it, and the batter is Ken Griffey. Breaking ball. Griffey did not homer the entire first half of last season and finished up with 7. So far, he has 3 this year, and of course, he's been on and off the DL. He has 2 hits, tripled in Henderson in the 2nd, doubled and scored himself in the 5th inning. Well, that pitch tied him up, but he held off. 1 ball and 1 strike. 9-6 Detroit, bottom of the 7th. These two clubs will wear each other out again next weekend in Tiger Stadium.
That's where we'll be. We'll see the battle again.
Waiting his turn on deck is Don Mattingly. Two and 1. Fastball, line in the left center, base hit. Garbe over to get it. So Griffey holding with his 3rd hit. He has a single, a double, and a triple. Don't forget, next Saturday, NBC Sports continues with another doubleheader. The first game, either the Angels and the White Sox or the Braves and the Reds. The second half, the Yankees in Detroit or the Giants and Padres in San Diego. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern with Major League Baseball, an inside look. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting on NBC Sports. So remember, the only out was that bullet hit back at Mars. Griffey now with a line single, his 3rd hit, and here's Mattingly. Mattingly has doubled and butted for a hit. Ball 1. Mattingly's bunt single in the 5th inning got Griffey to 3rd, and when Morris overthrew Evans for an error, Griffey scored. Down in the Tiger bullpen, Aurelio Lopez is up again to join Bill Shearer. Really fooled on that big split-fingered pitch. The bottom dropped out of it. 1-1 to count. So Morris staggering, but like the competitor he is, he's in the 7th inning and leading, and his hitters have propped him up. One and one to Don Mattingly. You notice that they are not holding Griffey, leading by 3. They want to give Evans a little range. Popped it up, and it's Lou Whitaker. So Mattingly pops out to the second baseman, and that'll bring up Dave Winfield. Don Mattingly was saying before the game, here's the way he rates the toughest pitchers. And the one thing he qualifies about Jack Morris is he says Morris is a tough pitcher, but he has to have that split-fingered fastball. And, of course, the left-handers, Burns, Martinez, and Hurst. And Walt Terrell, whom he had never seen until last night, really impressed him.
Morris has not had that split-finger fastball today, and he has just hung in there sheer nerve.
Now a battle with Winfield. Fly to left. Brookins took a hit away from him, and Winfield hits another one to Brookins right on the chalk, and it's a foul ball. Foul ball. They'll have to try it again.
Well, I got a chance here, Vin. This is also a game that Sparky Anderson has got his neck way out on the limb, staying as long as he has with Jack Morris. If they should lose this game, everybody's going to jump right on old Spark. If they win it, they're going to forget about it. And you ask him, he's going to say, well, that's what I get paid for. But he's staying with him for reasons known only to him. He'll tell you about it after the game. But he's had a couple chances where he could have put the hook on him.
Oh, easily. Morris retired the side in order in the 3rd inning, and it took a fine play by Brookins to do that. And he retired the side in order in the 6th inning. That's if you were keeping score. The 7 means a fly ball to left, 5-3 a ground ball to 3rd. And then if you wanted to keep score, the DP would be 5-4-3.
Rizzuto would have FO, GO, and DP. A full going to Dup.
0-2. How would you interpret Rizzuto's scoring?
Ground out, fly out, double play. A pop-up would be PO.
And what's a WL?
Wasn't looking.
0-2 to Winfield.
I did that to him. You read that.
2 out in the 7th. 9-6 Detroit. Winfield followed by Baylor. So they'd love to get Baylor up there with the tying run. Boy, the bat looked like it weighed 100 pounds as the bottom dropped out of that, and Winfield comes up empty, and so do the Yankees. A base hit, and they leave Griffey. It's 9-6 Detroit. 4 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits, no walks, and struck out 6. And Bordy now coming in with a record of 1-1.
Would this make you a better pitcher? I read in the yearbook that he went to Fresno State and he majored in criminology. It would help you if you keep your curveball down. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, trying to get people out.
High curveball not going to help you at all.
In other words, he's trying to get people out now, and when he finishes, he's going to put people in.
That's, you got it. You're so quick.
He learned a lesson when the Yankees were sailing along. You might remember that they lost here to Seattle 7-6. And Bordy came in to pitch to Al Cowens. And Butch Weiniger, no, Ron Hasse was the catcher. Hasse put down a curveball sign. Bordy shook him off. Threw a fastball. Cowens hit it out. And Billy Martin reportedly fined Bordy and Hasse for starting the hitter up with a fastball. In that same game, you get his name, Domingo Ramos hit a home run off Don Cooper on a fastball. First pitch. Garbe takes breaking ball strike. So you see he started him with a breaking ball. And Billy Martin made one of the great generalizations, I think, in the history of the game.
Okay.
And you'd have to be a manager, I guess, to really accept it. 1 ball and no strikes to Barbaro Garbe. Breaking ball missed. Billy said all Latins are first ball, fastball, high ball hitters. So he sent Cooper out, fined Hasse, and fined Bordy, supposedly. How about that statement? 1-1 foul back. That's why I was interested trying to set it up. Bordy's first pitch to Garbe was a breaking ball down and away.
First ball, fastball,
high ball hitters. All Latin.
All Latin.
Quote, Billy Martin, 1985. Garbe has hit in 13 out of 18, hitting around 350, so he's been a hot hitter. 1-2. Breaking ball fouled away.
I put that right next to Bob Beal's quote, who said, good pitching will stop good hitting and vice versa.
Vice versa. I love it.
High ball, fastball.
All Latins are first ball, fastball, high ball hitters.
Oh, boy.
And he said it with that tone like everybody knows.
Marvelous.
No comprende, senor. 1-2. Breaking ball, and all Latins caught looking at breaking balls can stand up and applaud. Tom Brookins had his 500th base hit last night. Talking about 500, Mickey Mantle. Here's a shot of Mantle hitting number 500. He hit some monsters at the stadium. Back to Brookins. Mantle, for the record, hit 536 home runs. Babe Ruth, of course, 714. Lou Gehrig, 493. Brookins has been busy, and with the glove as well. Grounded out on a sacrifice when he bunted. Doubled and flied to center to pick up a run. In there. So, as Tom Brookins goes to first, we'll take a walk and go to Bill McAtee in New York.
All right, Vin, the White Sox have taken the lead against the Angels in the top of the 7th. Harold Baines with an opposite field double that goes all the way to the wall. It will score Rudy Law to break the 2-2 tie. So the score in Anaheim is 3-2 White Sox in the 7th.
Well, that's a familiar report. Harold Baines has something to do with putting the White Sox out in front. And Tom Brookins at first. The hitter is Lou Whitaker, who is singled, grounded out, flied out, and struck out. 1 for 4. And he hits it foul out of play. Down in the New York Yankee bullpen is Ed Whitson. Ed Whitson is getting in a little work. And he has got to be, without a doubt, the most frustrated of the Yankee pitchers, as well as being one of the bitter disappointments. So he's throwing on the sideline. Whitson has won 1 game and lost 6. He has an earned run average of over 5, and he has garlic hanging from his locker to frighten away the evil spirits. That's fouled away. He really does. Right at the wall. Winfield handles it. And back to first base goes Brookins. So 2 down. And Alan Trammell coming up. Paid attendance today. It is a whopper. 55,623. That's a new all-time regular season single game record. The old record, 55,605 in September of '83. The Tigers are second in the American League in average road attendance. The Yankees are first. They have the magic, and you put them together here in Yankee Stadium, you got a whopper. Trammell is singled, aboard on an error, struck out, and grounded out. On deck, Kirk Gibson. Breaking ball. 2-0. Brookins held on at first by Mattingly. 8th inning, 9-6 Detroit. Now behind 3-0. To conclude the thought on Whitson, he retired 19 straight earlier this week against Toronto and did not get a decision. So he went out and bought more garlic. So you can't get within 5 feet of his locker. In there. Were you superstitious when you played?
No, I really wasn't. No. I figured any time I was in the lineup, it was bad luck.
Well, I wish I had a camera today to take a picture of Ed's locker. It is really, it's
outrageous.
outrageous.
Like an Italian deli, didn't it?
It's outrageous. 3-1. A drive into left center, digging and moving is Griffey to handle it. So they leave Brookins, who walked, and at the end of 7½, the Tigers 9 and the Yankees 6. Not been working too hard.
Well, he hasn't been working hard, it appears, but he's been struggling. That's always hard work. It's easy to pitch a ball game when you have your good stuff. And I think if he does win this game, he should go to Sparky and say, "Thanks, Spark." And Sparky will say, "You're not heavy, you're my pitcher."
Well, I tell you, he got lucky in the last inning, because if you remember, Henderson hit a bullet right at him. Then Griffey singled, and instead of having runners at first and third, he had a runner at first with 1 out, and he got through the inning. Now, as he gets close to 100 pitchers, he'll be working on Baylor, Weiniger, and Randolph. 9-6 Tigers, bottom of the 8th. Down in the Tiger bullpen, just in case, Willie Hernandez. Ground back a third, foul off the hand of Gene Michael. Another thing that has helped Jack Morris today, giving up 6 runs and 9 hits, the fact that he has only walked 1. He has hit a batter, but he's had reasonably good control, so he's not overworked at all. Only 100 pitches, and he's in the 8th inning. 0-2. Check swing, ground ball to third. Brookins to Evans. So Baylor holds up and taps to third. 1 away.
The catcher, Butch Weiniger.
Looked like Walt Terrell might do it last night, but they had to finish with Willie Hernandez, and it would be something about Morris. Now, he has not made that many pitches. He has worked 7 1/3. Terrell last night went 8 1/3. And here's Weiniger. Double fly to center, and then had that strange ground out. Remember 3-4-3, where it was touched by Evans, backed up by Whitaker, who threw the ball back to Evans. You got a little wave building at Yankee Stadium. The reason for the noise. 2-0.
These fans were applauding themselves when they announced the attendance here, and I don't blame them. $55,623. Drive to right, hooking down the line, foul. You know, many times when we hear about intangibles in baseball, and what we're watching in the performance of Jack Morris today is an intangible. What the scout puts down, he says, battler, because that's what he's been doing all day, battling.
Ball 3. And there's only the second walk, and it could be a storm signal for Sparky Anderson. The batter will be Willie Randolph, followed by Mike Pagliarulo.
The second baseman, Willie Randolph.
I wouldn't think that Sparky will let him pitch to the tying run. This will be a key man for him right here, Willie Randolph.
Randolph singled and scored a run, doubled and scored a run, and flied to right. So 2 for 3. Weiniger at first, Evans back of him. And there's a shot at Evans. He's up with it, down to Trammell, back to Evans, too late. So thanks to the score, Evans was off the bag and was able to at least get a force play.
He makes a good play on it. Ball is sharply hit. Good play by Trammell. You see him wait at the bag to see what Evans was going to do with the ball. Many times the infielder gives him a target, but Trammell, he didn't know which side of the base runner Evans was going to go to, and he waited for the throw. That was a good play.
And if Evans is on the bag, why, it's a base hit. So Morris is just getting by in the last 2 innings. Pagliarulo has not hit the ball hard at all. He's walked and twice grounded to Whitaker. He drives it to right field. Back goes Gibson, away back. It's gone. Mike Pagliarulo, who started his career, 9 of his first 14 major league hits went for extra bases. He hits a 2-run home run in the 8th inning, and the Yankees are right back in the game. It is 9-8 Detroit in the bottom of the 8th, and Sparky is certainly wondering, is there such a thing as a lead big enough for Jack to hold on to? But the story is Jack is still out there. Morris has only thrown about 105 pitches, but he's hanging on.
Oh, no. Tying runs at the plate. Here comes Sparky. We knew he was going to bring in the franchise, and Morris would not pitch to the tying run. Sparky has really gone more than the extra mile. We talk about superstitions. Sparky has one, you just saw it. He'll never step on the chalk line as we watch Hernandez come in. But Sparky said, if that's supposed to bring you good luck, why am I going out there in the first place?
Over 200 years ago, a symbol was chosen for the American way.
Even though he was far from being himself, the Tiger hitters kept propping him up every time he dropped to his knees. And now, leading 9-8, he gives the ball to Willie Hernandez.
And make the extra note that he's still seated on the bench. How many of them would have gone into the clubhouse to listen to it or watch it on TV?
Willie Hernandez, since becoming a Tiger, has really become a Tiger. 44 of the 46 save opportunities he has cashed in. The one he let get away last year was here, and then once this year. Hernandez coming out of the Tiger pen with the 44 saves. Now is battling for a save to give him 45 and tie the great name Al Benton. And you know, Al Benton was the only pitcher to pitch in games against both Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle. So this is an important game for Willie Hernandez in the Tiger history books. Bobby Meacham, who has not been hitting at all, is the batter. Ball one. To give you an idea, in his last dozen games, Meacham has hit less than 100. He hasn't had an extra base hit since the last week in May. And he hits a high fly ball to left field. Herndon is there. However, However, the Yankees get 2 runs on the 2-run home run by Mike Pagliarulo, and in a wildest one at the end of 8. The Tigers 9 and the Yankees 8.
The Honda Big Red is one of the most fully equipped machines you can buy. It's got electric starting, an automatic clutch.
At your mechanic or auto parts store.
Tomorrow on NBC Sports World, the 10-round lightweight bout, Rosario versus Randall from London, England. And Sports Journal takes a look at fan violence, featuring an interview with Baseball Commissioner Peter Ueberroth. That's tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 in Los Angeles only on NBC Sports World. Well, we're going to the 9th round of this one. This is a Pier 6 brawl. 9 runs, 13 hits for Detroit. 8 runs, 10 hits for the Yankees. Gibson, Parrish, and Evans coming up for Detroit. Gibson is 0 for 4 and has struck out the last 2 times up. He has not hit the ball out of the infield. Hitting .268. And Rich Bordy, the 3rd Yankee pitcher, ready to work. Ball 1. In case you are not keeping score and you wonder about the bottom of the 9th, the Yankees have Henderson, Griffey, and Mattingly if anybody gets on Winfield. It's been a tremendous show for a large crowd, 55,623. 1-1. Breaking ball lined into the right field corner. And it's in play. Winfield playing the carom, and Gibson into second base easily with a double. It has been a maddening day for the Yankees and Billy Martin in particular. Detroit keeps spurting out in front by 4 and 5. The Yankees keep getting within 1. And the Tigers pull away again. And we'll see now if they can add to their 1-run lead here in the 9th. Billy Martin, along with the stick, Gene Michael, sweating it out. The Tigers now have 5 extra base hits. The Yankees have 5 extra base hits. It really has been a slugfest. Lance Parrish doubled, hopped up, flied out, and singled. So he's 2 for 4 on his 29th birthday. Vada Finson coaching at first, Alex Grammas at third, and Parrish had a long look. 0-1. One and 1. Parrish last year had 5 home runs and 10 RBIs against the Yankees, and he has picked up 2 RBIs today with a single and a double.
Here's one of those spots, if you do make out, you really have to pick up the base.
On the fists, foul back. So after a couple of breaking balls, they came inside on the hands, and the count 1-2. On deck is Darrell Evans, who is having a huge day. Evans has 2 singles, a double, and a 2-run home run. And would you believe, Darrell Evans on deck needs 1 more RBI for 1,000 in his career. And he might have a shot at it here in the 9th. 1-2. Breaking ball pulled is short. Meacham sidearms across, so he left him at second base, pulling the curveball.
He is the 4th place hitter, and you don't want to take the bat out of his hand, but in a 9-8 ball game in the 9th, you got to pick up the base with the out.
So Gibbons still out there, and Darrell Evans bidding for a perfect day, and now Billy Martin going out to the mound. He has Righetti down there if he wants to bring in the left-hander. So Gibson doubled, Parrish grounds out, and they'll bring Righetti in to go head-to-head with Darrell Evans. 9-8 Tigers trying to get another in the top of the 9th. And Dave Righetti called in to go head-to-head with Darrell Evans, Larry Herndon, and Johnny Grubb, or hitters. Righetti with 11 saves in 15 opportunities, even though he is under 500 won and lost. He's been in 28 previous games. Just about a year ago, on the 17th of June, we were here doing a telecast, and Righetti cut his left index finger on the bullpen water cooler and was out for over 2 weeks. Of course, the Yankees can't afford to lose him for any length of time.
That time of the day, too. The lights are on. It's not really dark. It's not really light. And he's a power pitcher. The percentages are with him.
But Evans having one of those days. Look at that. 2 singles, a double, and a home run. Scored 3, knocked in 2. Ball 1. And his next RBI is 1,000. One and 0. And going to third is Gibson. The throw down. He is in there.
That's another one of those plays where he went on his own, asked permission. I think I can make it. I know I can make it. And Righetti did not give him a look. And look how anxious he is to go. And he just did that on his own. He knew he could make it, and he does. Good piece of base running.
You know, he's 10 out of 11 in stolen bases. So Gibson, one of those players blessed with extra fine judgment. When he goes, the odds are very much in his stolen bases that he's going to make it.
And look what he's done. He's pulled that infield in with the bases loaded. Infield in with him at third base.
1-1 to count to Darrell Evans. Fastball hit over third, slicing foul. Yep. And Evans, breaking his bat, will have to go to the woodpile and timeout. 1-2.
Boy, that good aggressive base runner, when he gets on second base and he knows he's got that base stolen, many times he's got to sign with that coach, and he's as much as saying, I can make it. And the coach, they've talked about it before, you better be sure, at least 95%. And then he says, okay, come on. And Gibson, he had it measured all right. Righetti just kind of gave him a glance, and away he went, and that's a big, big stolen base.
All the pressure on Righetti in the Yankee infield now as Evans up there with the count 1-2. But of course, Righetti can punch you out.
That's what he's got to do.
Just low. 2-2.
You don't think he let out a notch on that one?
He struck out 26 in his 41 innings. Last year, he struck out 90 in 96 innings. Ground ball into right field. So because of the stolen base, Darrell Evans gets his 5th hit, his 1,000th RBI in his career, and the Tigers take a 10-8 lead. You talk about that wanted the nail, the shoes lost, etc., etc. What a big play, the stolen base by Kirk Gibson.
And that run coming in now takes away the stolen base, the sacrifice, the hit and run play as far as the Yankees are concerned, because they've got to get a base runner on to get a tying run up there. Look at Gibson with that stolen base. He triggered it.
And the batter now is Larry Herndon. Fastball in there for a strike. So in the inning, Morty gave up the double, got Parrish, and when they brought Righetti in, Gibson stole third, and with the infield up, Evans singles to right to rearrange the furniture. And it is 10-8 Detroit. Fastball foul back 0-2. To repeat, Henderson, Griffey, and Mattingly in the bottom of the 9th inning.
What a difference, though. They have to get a base runner on. If it was a one-run ball game with those 3 guys coming up, you got some breathing room now. Not a whole lot.
Boy, that's remarkable. With all of his talent, he has stolen 10 out of 11. On the corner. So Righetti does what he wanted to do with Evans, but wouldn't you know he does it with a right-handed batter. 2 down. Johnny Grubb will not come up.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and Alex Sanchez will come up in bat for him.
He's got some power. This big guy loops that bat, but if he gets under one, he can ride it a long way. Strong.
He has 3 home runs, and he added to that to give him 4. 7 RBIs.
Now, is he a high ball, low ball?
Fastball.
Fastball?
All right, now watch. See if Righetti throws a breaking ball to him first pitch.
Well, we got the super scouting report.
Yeah. Out of the horse's mouth. He has struck out 13 times and yet to walk. Line drive on a fastball. Billy, you were right. And stopping at second is Darrell Evans.
Billy in his scouting reports. He won't send Righetti out, though.
So first and second, and the batter now will be Barbaro Garbey.
The center fielder, Barbaro Garbey.
Garbey hit a home run last night. In fact, he's had 4 RBIs in his last 4 games. He came in, remember, when Chet Lemon hurt himself in the 6th inning. Fastball for a strike. Boy, you see the dust pop out of Weininger's mitt. That thing was humming.
He had it. I wonder what the gun showed on that one.
2 out in the 9th. 10-8 Detroit. Big game, as we mentioned several times, in case you weren't with us. Toronto lost. Boston beat Toronto 7-5. 1-1 to count to Garbey. Two and 1. Darrell Evans at second. Sanchez at first. Garbey at the plate with 2 out. And on deck, Tom Brookins. Missed with the breaking ball, and he's gone 3-1.
Now we're going to see power against power. Garbey, pretty good fastball hitter against fastball pitcher, and he's got to throw a strike here.
He threw the fastball, but he missed with it to load him up. So Righetti has not been the answer. The left-hander had Gibson steal third on him. Then gave up the single to the left-hand hitting Evans with the infield out. Struck out the right-hand hitting Herndon, only to give up a single to Sanchez and a walk to Garbey. And here's Brookins. Doubled and scored in the second. Had a scoring fly ball in the third. Sacrificed and walked.
They want him to look at the ball. Brookins was ready to hit, and the bench called him back, and they want the ball. The bench wants the ball for whatever reason.
The walk to Garbey?
No, it might be Darrell Evans at 5 for 5. That's a pretty good.
1,000 RBI.
1,000 RBI. That's what it is. Yeah. He's had a pretty good year today.
Didn't he, though? 3 singles, a double, and a 2-run home run. There's Darrell standing at third. Sanchez is at second, and Garbey is at first. Strike. 10 runs, 16 hits for Detroit. 8 runs, 10 hits for the Yankees. You're looking at Evans, Sanchez, and Garbey. One and 1.
Some ball game. 26 hits, 18 runs. Balk, 5 for 5. Brand new scouting report on Latin players.
And Ken Griffey, coming up in the 9th inning, has a chance to hit for the cycle. Line drive down the right field line. Foul ball. So Brookins will try it again. Evans back to third. Sanchez to second. Garbey at first. 1-2 to Tom Brookins. Tigers 10, Yankees 8, top of the 9th. Got the corner with a change, and Brookins caught looking. 2 strikeouts for Righetti. The Tigers get a run, lead 3. It's 10-8 Tigers. We'll be back, but let's get an update and go to Bill McAtee.
All right, before we leave you today, we want to pass along this afternoon's finals around the Major League. First of all, down in Houston, the Dodgers beat the Astros 3-0 on a fine pitching performance from Oral Hershiser. Hershiser ended up with a 3-hitter. Also in the National League, the Cubs lost for the 4th straight time, shut out by the Cardinals 2-0, and San Diego won over the Giants 1-0. In the American League, the Orioles over the Brewers 7-5. Earl Weaver now 2-0 since his return. The A's beat Cleveland in front of only 7,000. 8-6 was the final. At Fenway Park, Boston over Toronto by a score of 7-5. The Yankees and the Tigers, 10-8. They are in the top of the 9th out at Yankee Stadium. The White Sox and the Angels, the game that you have been watching, the final 3-2 in Anaheim. We will right now send you back out to the ballpark.
We're in the bottom of the 9th inning, and as you can see, the Tigers leading the Yankees 10-8 with Henderson, Griffey, and Mattingly due out. The big story is Darrell Evans, and this week's NBC Light Beer from Miller Player of the Game will be Darrell Evans, and Light Beer from Miller happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Darrell Evans to help fight multiple sclerosis. Darrell today went 5 for 5. He had a home run and a double, 3 RBIs, and he scored 3 runs. And along the way, picked up 1,000 career RBI. We have a moment. It's been an exciting afternoon at the stadium. The executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weisman. The coordinating producer for NBC Baseball, Harry Coyle. The telecast of today's game of the week. Produced by George Finkel, directed by John Gonzalez. Pregame produced by Les Dennis. Pregame directed by Mary Buda Lamusio. Technical directors Lenny Stucker and Sal Nagita. Rickey Henderson, among his many strengths, is the ability to get on base. In fact, he has the highest on-base percentage among players with at least 5 years experience. And he just about has to get on here in the bottom of the 9th. It is 10-8 Detroit. Henderson is fouled out and single, grounded out and lined out. His line drive almost took Jack Morris apart. Strike. 0-1. Fouled away. The game is now 3 hours old. I don't think there's anybody in the ballpark who cares. Well, maybe Sparky's thinking about dinner. But it has been a great show for the 55,623. Hope you've enjoyed the ride. 0-2 to Rickey Henderson. He has an 8-game hitting streak, kept alive with his base hit in the 2nd inning. In the dirt. Willie acted like he almost hurt himself on that pitch. 1-2. Willie throws the ball into Lance Parrish, taking him a little while to pull himself together. I think he tried to get a little more on what appeared to be almost a screwball as he turned it over. 1-2. Fastball lifted to right center field. Gibson got a good jump on the ball. He's there. Boy, if he was not in motion immediately, that thing is in the gap. So Henderson, a long out, 1 down. The Major League Baseball game of the week has been brought to you by Ford, who invites you to drive the new Ford Escort. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Miller Beer. Miller made the American way since 1855. By Schick Disposable. The disposable razor made to stay sharp and shave close, shave after shave. And by Moog Cargo Coils, the car springs that smooth the road and carry the load. Talking about carrying the load, here's Ken Griffey. He is singled, he is doubled, he is tripled, and he is struck out. And he hits a roller down to the right side to Whitaker, to Evans. 2 out in the 9th inning. Griffey with a shot at hitting for the cycle, in case you wonder. The last Yankee to do that was Bobby Mercer back in 1972. So with 2 out in the 9th inning, Hernandez trying to hold on to this one for Jack Morris. And Don Mattingly with Dave Winfield on deck. Mattingly doubled to right in the 1st inning, grounded to short, and left a runner at 3rd by doing that in the 2nd inning. Bunted for a base hit in the 5th and popped up in the 7th. Strike. Started to pull the trigger on the curveball, but looks at it instead, and it cost him a strike. 0-2. Sidearmed him, so he lost his bat as he tried to stay with it. So Hernandez dropping his arm, sidearming the left-hand hitter, and Mattingly kind of giving and losing control. Take a look. Watch the arm come down. Mattingly just did get a piece of it, and here comes a bat, and Willie reacting, able to get out of the way of it. Never left the mound. 0-2. Hernandez trying to get his 45th save, which gets him up there with Al Benton in the Detroit record books. It would give him 45 out of 47 opportunities. Truly remarkable. 0-2. Fouled away off 3rd, out of play, and again a mean pitch, working him by way of first base. Mattingly trying to get aboard, hoping that Winfield, who is on deck, can not only represent the tying run, but get the Yankees off the floor. Winfield, with 7 home runs, has been kept quiet today. 0 for 4. One and 2. Sparky knows that Willie Hernandez allowed 1 home run last week to Phil Bradley of Seattle. That was the first home run he allowed in 58 games. Discounting Bavacqua's home run in the World Series. Ground ball down to Trammell. In the dirt, backhanded and dug out by Darrell Evans. And the Tigers win a brawl from the Yankees 10-8. And we'll be looking at them at Tiger Stadium next week. A doubleheader, the Angels at Chicago, Atlanta at Cincinnati, the Yankees, Tigers, Giants, San Diego. For Joe Garagiola, Vin Scully wishing you a very pleasant good evening.